Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Rocket Knight Adventures. And last time we started off the game and now we're in Stage 3, which starts off with quite the hazard. Also, I don't like that stage start theme because it feels like it fades away too soon. Either way, the lava in this stage here is instant kill. Do not touch it, otherwise you are dead. However, you also have to use it to your advantage because as you can see, it reflects stuff that we can't quite see. Like that platform there on the far right, actually. I honestly actually really like this platforming idea. It reminds me a bit of one stage in Castlevania Bloodlines, coincidentally also on the Sega Genesis, actually. And I really like when platforming gimmicks like this are used effectively. Also, why did they put that one up there? There's no challenge in getting that. The other ones are at least either semi-hidden or require some platforming challenges to get to usually, so that's a little weird. Also, I love this stage theme. A Rocky Knight Adventures soundtrack is one that takes me a second to actually start to like. But from like stage 3 or 4 on, it's like almost hit after hit after hit. And now we actually have to do a bit of swimming for this part. Sparkster has no air meter. You can be in water basically as long as Mario can be, so infinitely. And you need to carefully use your rocket pack along with just controlling yourself carefully to get around a lot of these spikes. I actually only now just noticed the bananas down there. Huh, that could have been useful stuff coming up. Now something, you might remember last part, I went over the entire plot explanation in the manual, but there's also little character bios for all the characters. So let's get those up real quickly. But first we have a sub-boss against a giant crab robot, I believe. You can actually get some free hits on the center pig there real quickly. But the way this works is that the center, for the most part, is not going to be doing much throughout this fight. You're going to be dealing with the hunter aspect of the left claw, which will constantly home in on you, and the guard nature of the right claw, which is guarding the cockpit. However, you need to destroy both claws anyway, so just head to either extreme corner and do a diagonal downwards charge at them, so you can get a lot of damage in very quickly. After that, just repeat that with the left one, and you're actually pretty much good. This fight is actually really annoying if you try to go after the left claw first for some reason. So just do this, and you should be fine. Either way, let's see. The Stuff of Legends, these are the character bios. Sparkster. A war orphan, he was taken into the house of Mifune Sanjuro, a descendant of a long line of Rocket Knights. There, Sparkster was raised as a Rocket Knight. 10 years back, his master Mifune was permanently disabled by the Black Knight Axel Gear. Sparkster arrived in the kingdom of Zebulos after searching all over for Axel Gear, upon whom he seeks revenge. He poses as a wandering outlaw, but is in fact a strong defender of justice. He also has a careless side to him and is easily pleased by praise or flattery. You know, that gives him more of a personality than Sonic until Adventure, so gotta give him that. Now we have this screen, which is kind of awkward for the wrong reasons. We basically have to deal with this little walker throughout the entire thing. And you go on a pattern of standing on it during the lava sections, but going underneath it during the spikes. It's a very repetitive screen. Nothing to really worry about it on it, though. Next up is King Zebulos, a descendant of the royal Zebulos family that has protected the key to the seal from generation to generation. He is loved by the people for his tolerance and fair rule. In his youth, he was buddies with Mifune, Sparkster's teacher, and went on numerous adventures with him. He's a widower whose only child is Princess Sherry. We actually saw King Zebulos last part during one of the little cutscenes, but that's more or less all he really gets. In fact, most of the characters just really show up in brief little cutscenes, and that's it. Either way, now it's time for the real boss of this stage, which is actually a fairly annoying one, this giant robotic fish. It starts off the fight by making platforms go into its mouth in the lava, and you just need to try and survive while jumping on them fairly carefully. It's surprisingly hard to control that. At which point, it goes into the center of the screen like this, and will fire fireballs out in a set pattern every time. He'll also shoot out bananas with each spurt, and there will always be 2 on the right, at which point the pig soldier will jump out of it, and you need to hit that in order to damage it. At this point, its pattern repeats, sort of. It starts on the left this time, and the platforms that move faster are reversed. In the case of when it's on the right, the ground platforms go faster, and this time when he's on the left, the airborne platforms move faster. At this point, the pattern repeats, only he'll be alternating his side every single go-around. Not a very hard boss. It takes like, I think, 5 shots on normal mode, or easy mode rather. Normal mode, maybe 6 or 7. Not a bad boss at all, really. By the way, next up in the bios is Princess Sherry. She is a very kind and proper daughter, but slightly naive. Because she stands to inherit the key to the steel, she is the target of the attack and kidnapped by the Devotindos Imperial Army. God, that's gonna trip me up every time. Next up is Axelgear, the Black Knight. The Black Knights are a band of rocket knights who have gone bad. Power and greed corrupted them. Axelgear once tried to steal an ancient book that contained the secrets of the Rocket Knights. The book was kept by Mifune, whom Axelgear wounded severely. Now Axelgear is the assistant to Emperor Devligas, leader of the Imperial Army. Axelgear secretly loathes the ugly Devligas and is always looking for a chance to overthrow him and take control. Axelgear has one other secret. He's in love with Princess Sherry. Ah, so he's the Starscream for our game. Gotcha. And last up, well, not last up, we actually have two more to go. We got Emperor Devligas Devinotindos. Got Devotindos. That name is way, like 2 syllables longer than it probably should be. Single-handedly, he built a powerful army of the revived Devotindos Empire. Versed in archaeology, he dug up and revived robots from the ruins of the old empire. With his powers of hypnosis, he controls crowds and oppresses neighboring countries and planets. His ultimate goals remain unclear. I guess we'll need to save the last guy for next stage, because that boss is over. Overall, stage 3 is probably the shortest stage we've seen so far, and also probably the easiest because of it. The bosses don't pose too much of a threat, although the damage you can take can be kind of high. But overall, stage 3, not too bad. Either way, onto a harder stage for certain. Alright, time for, I don't want to say my least favorite stage in the game, but it's either that or one of the next 2 stages that I really just don't like too much. It actually starts off with a mini-boss against our final character by Captain Flegel. The way this mini-boss works is that he's going to be throwing these mines at you, or bombs at you, that cause fire to go across the rest of the length of the screen. I'm giving myself time to explain this because otherwise this fight will be over in 5 seconds. What you have to do, stand on the very extreme of the screen and hit his bombs back at his damn face. I think it takes 6 to 8 of them to take him out, but that's a total of like 15 seconds worth of boss fight in general right there. Not a very hard fight. He can be damaging, as you can see, but that's it. And as for Captain Flegel himself, as the bad boy of the local aristocrats, he became captain of the Empire's great flying battleship, the Big Barone. He is a clumsy oaf who never seems to get things right. You're goddamn right. The top of this ship has wind physics on it, so you will get pushed back, so be careful with that. Notable, the barrels I was dodging during that little previous 20 seconds of stage will hurt you, so watch out for that. And now the stage gets annoying, because everything from here on out is over a bottomless pit, so that means death is constantly around you. Thankfully, there's an infinite spawning 1-up there, because I think every 1-up in this game respawns upon death. And then we're led into probably one of the most annoying mini-bosses in the game. The way this works is that this little pig thing will constantly float over to your location, fire up fire about 2 or 3 times, at which point it'll drop the bomb enemies from a moment ago onto your little railing, and you need to time hitting them so that they fall onto that thing, which is a lot more annoying than it sounds, because aside from like jumping off the rail and rocketing to the left or right, it's really hard to avoid them because they move in a bit of an exponential increase in speed. The best way I can say this fight should go, pray that they drop in a position relative to him that when you hit them, they'll immediately fall into him. Because otherwise, this fight is actually just kind of annoying and tedious. Not the worst sub-boss in the game, but it's certainly annoying. Also, I just took a look at the manual again because I had the PDF up to read all that information. I just realized they have merchandise in this manual. Namely, a frisbee for $2.50, t-shirts for $10.50, hats for $7.50, and buttons for $2. Wow, doesn't that just take you back? Well, first off, aside from just having manuals, merchandise in the manuals, memories. There's also, an equivalent to the Nintendo helpline. 70 cents per minute charge. Oh, wow, that's pretty high, all things considered. Either way, this next section of the stage is Patience Dissection, because these little rocket launcher pigs constantly respawn. You can do nothing about them. You just have to duck and attack them so that you can get them out of the way before their projectile hits you, while also just worming your way through these barriers. It's actually a very easy section, but if you're impatient, you might take a lot of unnecessary damage or deaths here. Thankfully, Sparkster's hitbox isn't one-to-one his sprite. I don't think the top of his ears counts, nor does the tip of his tail, as you saw there. So you do have a bit of leeway, but it can still be kind of tricky. Either way, Fleagle's first fight was easy. The actual fight against him here at the end is really annoying, because this pig robot only has 2 attacks. It can cause junk to fall from a ceiling, which when it does like this, they fall in a bit of a random pattern, and dodging this is annoying in of itself. But after that, it goes into its second attack, where it'll spread its arms out to the side and open up the thing you have to damage, its little red core there. However, it also shoot out giant projectiles at a very rapid speed, and after the last one, it'll just shoot a bunch of projectiles in that spread function. What you have to do here is a mix of dodging the first one, and while it's firing the red projectiles, jumping and hitting in between the shots. That's not only hard to time, but you have to also keep count of how many shots it's fired from this, because otherwise you're going to get hit with that spread shot. This is risk versus reward, depending on how many shots you want to get on it at a time, and dodging these things especially is really annoying. The main reason I don't like this stage is already the annoying sub-boss towards the middle of it, and the instant death bottomless pit beneath you during most of it, but this boss is also really annoying. However, thankfully, the boss against Fleagle himself is really easy, because similar to Crashman from Mega Man 2, he jumps whenever you attack. However, you can just manipulate him into running into your own little spin attack by standing in one position and doing the little downward spin. Other methods can take a bit longer, but honestly, this is just a really effective method because he'll almost never touch you. You just have to jump over him and then avoid him otherwise. No, wow, that was redundant. Attack him and then jump over him, charge up, do it again. There you go. It's honestly kind of funny how easy this is. Which, mind you, is probably the joke, the fact that without his machines, Fleagle is just a little whelp, but yeah. He does have a good amount of HP, though, I'll give him that. Because most bosses would be dead by now. Not him, though. He has things to do. Makes you wonder, though, why they gave this one character a bio when he's only in one stage of the game. Devilingus, at least, he's in a lot of the cutscenes, but what the hell's with this, huh? On a serious note, you should be dead already. Thank you. And that's the end of Stage 4. Like I said, debatably my least favorite stage in the game. It's either that or Stage... Ooh, do I dislike Stage 5 or 6 more? I think I dislike Stage 5 more than 6. Actually, no, wait, I like Stage 6. Stage 7. And time for Stage 5, which, as you can see, has a very familiar looking position for the intro of the stage. And there's a reason for that. We have our second Gradius section. And this one can actually be very annoying because we have invincible missiles, which come out at, let's say, some awkward angles at the very start of the stage. After the missiles comes this little bullet rain, and I don't really get the point of this because there's like 2/3 of the screen you can see, even though I got hit really stupidly there at the end. And then we just have a few pigs to go after which we're going to face some more missiles. The second array of missiles is easier to avoid, but you need to be more attentive with it. Because it's not like the first volleys where they just kind of went in 3 different directions. This time they're all going in one direction, but you have to stay in between them, and they follow a bit of a path like this. This has actually always been one of my favorite little avoidance square peg in the square hole trials to avoid. I love doing stuff like that in games. After which they just fire more volleys and alternating these two patterns, and then you're home free from the little missile section. And for some reason there's a pig right now last time, I don't get why. But we do get our sub-boss for this level at least. The pulsating plasma rifle, I think this thing's supposed to be called. And this is actually a very annoying sub-boss. He fires his first few lasers from the left, and he can't really do anything about that, but afterwards, he starts firing from the right like this. You need to take care of the little bears in front of the pig himself, while still avoiding all his lasers, which can do a decent chunk of damage. After which, we need to attack the pig himself. The hardest point to actually damage him during is when he's actually attacking, so wait until he's trying to back up from his little charge forward like that to get most of your damage in on him. Afterwards, he's actually going to enter his second phase, but we'll get more into that when that happens. Now, at this point, just stay towards the left of the screen, and the moment he reaches the center, start firing, because otherwise, he's going to start attacking. But if you do it just right, he can't touch you, and you'll kill him first. At that point, we're technically done with the first third of the stage or so. And now the stage gets weird, because we kind of have a lot of platforming challenges. Also, dodge that knight because those knights are completely invincible. We just have a lot of weird little mini platforming trials, like this one we need to get to the bottom of this room before the invincible soldiers do, otherwise you're taking unavoidable damage. As long as you keep moving, as long as you move from the very start of that room, though, you'll be fine. Now we need to rocket through the rest of this room so we can actually race to the end of it before the knights can catch up with us. Again, not too hard, especially if you abuse the rocket jumping the right way. Also, you need to kind of do a Mario Brothers turn off the lava bridge thing. And now we have easily the most annoying section. Did someone say crush your ceiling for an entire room? This doesn't seem too hard at first, but then there are 4 specific hallways you need to rocket boost through from the very left or the very right to the opposite extreme in a very short amount of time, like so. Best way to do that, stand in one extreme and then just rocket across. This right here is also extraordinarily tight. That 1-up, though, that I just collected, it respawns every time you come in here. So if you die and you get back here, it'll be there again, so you can theoretically try this infinitely. The next platforming challenge is this little platform. This is kind of going to be one that goes throughout the rest of the stage. The way it works is that there are 2 arrows on either extreme. One raises you, one lowers you, and you need to touch the opposite one in order to equalize out again. So say you're heading down, you want to head up, you need to hit the opposite button twice. This is very important to memorize because one section coming up has, I think, damn near instant kill stuff around you while you're doing this. And you might be like me and accidentally hit the wrong button while you're trying to go one direction, causing you to go the other, and that's just no good. And here we are. I believe the glowing spikes in this room, if they're not instant kill, they're certainly close. Thankfully, throughout the early sections, they have these gems here, which showed up last part, and I forgot to mention them. They're essentially your score items. They increase your score by a more substantial amount than anything else in the game. If you follow them, you should generally be good, but they start to get a little more sporadic with their placement, as you can see later on. There's also an alternate path you can take in here somewhere that leads to a 1-up, but I don't know where that path starts. Probably right here, if I had to guess. But I've never gone for this 1-up, because, that probably is a bit too tight for me. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's very easy right here, especially, to hit the wrong button and thus go in the wrong direction. Maybe even hit the more than likely instant kill spikes. Thankfully, once you get here, you're home free. And in fact, I believe we're at the boss now, aren't we? Yeah, we are. It's time for us to finally go up against Axel himself by running the hell away from him. Touching that mech at any point, I believe, is instant kill. You need to skillfully use your rocket pack to just get out of here. Rule of thumb, usually hold your rocket back towards the upper left just to avoid any, let's just say, badness. However, once we get to the end of this section, we get our own giant punching mech, a giant pig mech rather, and it becomes a game of Punch-Out. You need to constantly hit his mech while avoiding getting hit by yours, and there's actually a good amount of thinking that goes into your movements here. Generally, I like to let him make the first move so that he can walk into my punches, but towards the end of his life bar, he'll start doing about 5 steps backwards and then charge you, at which point you kind of just need to walk a little bit forward and time your punch carefully. I forget exactly how much one of his punches does to your mech, but this can be kind of a hard section. However, it's also my favorite boss fight in the game just due to how creative it is. With that said though, that's stage 4. Honestly, no, stage 5 rather. I really like the stage aside from the Gradius section at the start of it because a lot of interesting ideas that go into it. And thus, the end game approaches. With that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we're heading on up to the Pig Star, which I guess has been unlocked through Sherry's Key to the Seal, and finishing off the Emperor there once and for all. See you guys then.